Emerald Soldier here, and I am back to talk about Marvel's Secret Invasion Season 1, Episode 1, and my thoughts on this episode. Now, the reason I'm reviewing this is pretty much because I saw that stupid tweet from Samuel Jackson about why people don't like Captain Marvel. Now, does he mention the fact it was a terrible film and certain people in that film are complete and utter morons? No, he blames it on politics and sexism and bullshit like that. So, that kind of annoyed me because, again, it had nothing to do with that. It was just a very, very bad film. Okay, Captain Marvel was shit. And Brie Larson is a very unlikable person. But anyway, so that tweet pissed me off, so I thought, if that's what he's going to say on Twitter, I wonder what the show that's coming out is going to be like. Because it must be woke gold. And it might be funny to take the piss out of it. So that's why I watched it. Unfortunately for me, it's not a bad episode. I enjoyed the first episode. It made sense. The story was very interesting. The bad guys' motivation needs a bit of work, that part, because I kind of thought it was kind of stupid. Like, yeah, I think you could have just sat him down, had a word. It really didn't need to escalate to where it went. But overall, I enjoyed the episode. I love spy thrillers. I think this is very interesting. I think my biggest problem, though, with it is it does kind of get rid of the chance for Marvel to do this in the movies. Because Secret Wars was a comic that apparently was successful. I'm not a big comic person. I've read a couple, but I'm not all in that. So, but I've heard it was a fantastic run, and if they had put this in the movie franchise, it might have lasted. It might have given Disney 10 to 15 more years of interesting movies. But they've decided to do it as a TV show or a Disney Plus show, so that's a bit of a missed opportunity in my opinion. But overall, anyway, let's just get on with this. Overall, it's a good episode. Interesting story. I give it a 7 out of 10, as it's the first episode. I think that's good for the start of the season. I think it's a good, strong episode. I like the characters, and the story's not bad either. But I have to mention, because it kind of has to be said, there is no hype for this show anywhere. Twitter, YouTube, anywhere. So this show might not be getting watched. It might not even, might even get a second season if that's where they want to go. So this show is, I think, in danger of becoming irrelevant, and that does just show you how badly Disney has, managed Marvel, and I would say its eventual downfall, because there isn't much hype for anything that comes out of Marvel, and the next thing to come out after this is that Captain Marvel and all the other two film, and that's supposed to be a massive joke, I hear. So it's a bit worrying, I think, for Disney that there is no hype. I kind of think that is kind of their own fault, but there you go. But anyway, let's get on with the review. 7 out of 10. Let's go to spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So, the episode starts off with Agent Ross getting a message from somebody. He's in Russia and he's going to meet with a contact who seems to have found a link between all these terrorist attacks that have happened on Earth. Now, when Agent Ross meets the person, it obviously looks like he's probably gone a bit insane. At least that's what we're meant to believe. But he has figured out that all these terrorists that might be independent of one another are actually working for the Skrulls. Now, Ross kind of tries to, argue that no, the Skrulls are our friends, they're our allies. Nick Fury said that they're on our side, so obviously it can't be the Skrulls, and all of this could just be in your head, basically. But the guy kind of brings out more evidence and says, listen, the Skrulls feel that they've been abandoned by Nick Fury and Captain Marvel. This might be their revenge to try and take over the world, to start a war between America and Russia. And he's found parts. Where was I? Yeah, he's found parts to a bomb that's been stolen from a part of Russia, or at least somewhere near Russia. And he's found the bomb. They're going to use the bomb to say it's an American terrorist group attacking America, so they start a war between the two sides. And then the guy kind of realizes Ross is a Skrull and attacks him, and Ross kills the insane man. He then goes on the run. He gets chased by a random Russian person, and then falls down. When the chase finishes, he falls down a wall, hits the pavement, and turns out he's a Skrull. Because you then see Hiltz, who comes and thinks it's Ross, but then it's revealed that the Russian chasing the fake Ross is Tals, the leader of the Skrulls, or at least that's what you're supposed to think until he explains what's happened. And he says Ross is a Skrull. Turns out he is a Skrull, and that Earth's in danger because there might be some bad Skrulls out there, and he's there to help them find them, to stop them starting a war, killing all humanity. So they then send a message to Fury to come back to Earth because he's apparently been away trying to build up a new defense system for Earth against aliens or whatever. And we then get a scene where the president gets informed by... What is his name? Rhodey. That's his name, Rhodey. Rhodey informs the president about Nick Fury coming down and the fact they've lost contact with a lot of people. President's getting a bit nervous because what Fury was doing was very important to Earth security. So if he's coming back to Earth, it must be for a very good reason. Anyway, then we get the scene between Tals and Fury meeting each other again. Turns out Tals' wife has died because of these bad Skrulls, and he's very sad about it, so is Fury. But Tals pretty much sees that Fury's not really been handling himself well. He sees that he's depressed, or he's basically kind of not his self. And throughout the episode, he doesn't really act like himself. He kind of does act a bit weird throughout. But he then has to tell him about what's kind of happened on Earth whilst he's been away. And he kind of talks about how the blip kind of fucked a lot of things up. And the entire Skrull people kind of felt abandoned, especially one who's called what's his name? Gravik, who has gone a bit insane because he felt extremely abandoned by Nick and Captain Marvel, and he felt like they were not going to help them find a new planet for the Skrull people, so he's decided to break away with a terrorist group to take over Earth and destroy humanity so that they can live on Earth in peace. And Fury's kind of, upset about this. He understands that the Skrulls are not evil people because, the whole Captain Marvel movie, which tried to make the Skrulls out to be to make them out to be refugees. Not an evil race, just a race that don't have a home. So it's kind of weird you're doing secret wars trying to make us feel sorry for them, but then at the same time try to say they're trying to take over the planet. Kind of a bit weird, but anyway. So, Nick doesn't want this to happen anymore. He wants to try to talk to the Skrulls, but unfortunately Tarls has been kicked out and exiled because he wasn't all in on taking over Earth and killing humanity, and he wants to help Nick Fury stop them before they, wipe out humanity, basically. So, Nick Fury, pissed off about this, decides to go for a walk in the middle of Moscow. A black guy walking through probably the whitest city you will ever see. By the way, Moscow looks really like London, which is very funny because two of the streets that they filmed on, I've been down those streets, so it was kind of weird. I'm supposed to pretend this is Moscow, but I obviously can see it's London. It was kind of weird, but yes. Nick Fury, who's supposed to be a very, skilled agent. I mean, why? Why would you go out in Moscow? I get that the story is in Moscow. I get it. But Nick Fury would stand out like a fucking sore thumb. It's insane for them. I mean, it did just feel like really stupid. And Nick Fury just isn't that sort of person. I get he wants to go out and have a walk and think and all that stuff. And basically get captured by MI6 because he pretty much did realise MI6 was on his tail. And you kind of... Anyway, never mind. So he gets captured by MI6. They bring him to the head of MI6, I think. And she is like all happy and to see him. And apparently they've known each other before. Nick Fury compliments her on how she looks. She doesn't do the same. She kind of says he looks like a wreck. And he tries to get information out of her whilst also setting a bug in her office so he can keep an eye on what MI6 is doing. You also had this kind of cringe-worthy scene where she kept calling her agents thugs, which I kind of just felt like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're your agents. You sent them to grab Fury. Why are you insulting them? This part of the fucking... It just feels so stupid. It really did. Like, you're insulting your agents. That's kind of over the top. And there are kind of little other bits of wokeness in this episode. Because there's also a bloody scene in this episode where Fury has a conversation with Hills about, spies and all that. And then when she says spooks, and he says spooks. No, he says spooks. And she doesn't, because apparently Spooks is racist now. That is the dumbest fucking thing I've heard. I mean, I can't say ever because we are in woke times. But it just felt so stupid. You can't say Spooks anymore. Like, that's what you call the secret intelligence services, Spooks. It's like, what? Oh, God. And then you had Nick Fury saying he can say it, but she can't. Basically, because he's black, he can say it, and she can't say it because she's white. It's like, what the fuck? Anyway. So basically, he has a conversation with the head of MI6. She tells him she has no information about the Skrulls, or at least no information she's willing to give to Fury. And he just says, fine, and tells her to get her thugs to take him back so we can walk to his apartment or wherever the hell he's got in Moscow. And she does. They walk back. We then get a scene where some black kid is walking to some Russian soldiers. Turns out, no, this is not a Russian base. It turns out to be a secret Skrull base where all the Skrulls get to be themselves. Or at least what they keep saying to each other, be in their own skin. Because apparently they don't feel comfortable being in human skin. And they don't like to adapt to the culture that they are in, which is kind of on the line of saying certain things, but I'm not going to say it because it's YouTube. But it kind of did feel like, well, you did come to... Never mind, I'm not going to go down that road. But she's then met with the Emilia Clarke character, who is called um, Gaia, Taos' daughter, and she is a part of this terrorist group who want to take over Earth. She takes the guy to their, paradise or whatever they want to call it, and tells him about, you can be yourself here. They grow their own food, or at least their real food that they call it, and he'll be happy and he'll be safe here. And if he wants to fight for the cause, they will assist him in that. So, yeah. And it's a small little campsite. I kind of think they're in the ruins of a Russian nuclear power plant. Some people are going to say Chernobyl. It's not Chernobyl. They're in Russia, not Ukraine. They're in some old nuclear power plant. Because they can deal with the nuclear energy stuff, whatever it's called. And, that doesn't affect them. So starting a nuclear war on Earth, wiping out humanity, they could rebuild and not feel any of the crap from the nuclear weapons. So, Guy gets brought in. Amelia gives him some food and shows him around. Then she walks into a door that he can't enter because it's a secret project that's going to save the Skrulls' future and give them a new home. It turns out to be a warehouse full of humans that they've kidnapped and replaced with Skrull agents. And you see a new human being put in the room because he's apparently the leader or a member of an American front group who wants a war between America and Russia, or a group that hates Russia and wants to start a war with them. And then he's going to replace him with a Skrull agent so that they can assure of a war between America and Russia. Now, I kind of like this because, again, it kind of shows you that they're not just going to go for the leadership, they're going to go for small people as well. You can't just taking over a terrorist group, yeah, you could take over the lead agent, or you could take over the underlings. That would be a little bit more safer and a lot less suspicion on you if you do something wrong. So I kind of did like that. They also have chambers where they put the humans in so that they can look into their minds so that they don't get, slipped up. If they get asked a question that only that person would know, they can scan the brain and find that information. I thought that was very interesting too. It's kind of like how you can't find the changelings in Star Trek. It's like if you ask them a certain question, they might not know about it. This is pretty much a safeguard of that. And again, really interesting. So Amelia then gets sent off by Gravik to go collect some bombs from their agent in Moscow. So she heads off, and we then get a scene where the bug in MI6 leader's office, they pretty much pick up on MI6's watch list, where they are watching a person who is dealing in weapons and chemical weapons too, the ones they want to use to blow up something. So Nix decides that they're going to go there instead, knock out the two MI6 agents and try to capture the Skrull agent and find out where these terrorist Skrulls are and stop the plan from happening. So they head off, they get there, they knock out the agents. Amelia Clarke gets to the cellar, takes the weapons in a bag and walks off. Nick Fury and Taos then interrogate the Russian Art Museum person. They ask him a bunch of questions. Well, I kind of think we do see a bit of a problem because the way Fury kind of finds out this person's lying is asking him certain questions about his wife or his ex-wife, it turns out to be, and other things. And you'd kind of think if he has the man's brain being scanned, how could he not tell that his wife was his ex-wife? I mean, it kind of seems a bit ridiculous because Fury kind of this art gallery person tells Fury he has a meeting with somebody. He says it's his wife. It turns out it's his ex-wife. So that's obviously bollocks. And Fury gives up the whole, you only get one lie before, if you go for two, I'll shoot you, basically. So he asks him another question about where the bombs are, who you're going to actually meet. And then when Tulls tries to torture him for information, because that was basically what they were planning to do with this guy. Turns out he's a Skrull, and then Tulls has a fight with him, tries to tell Fury not to get involved because he kind of knows if Fury gets involved, he's going to kill the Skrull, and he doesn't want it to happen. But the Skrull is too much for Tulls, and Fury has to do the right thing, which is kill the Skrull, because if he doesn't, he's going to get killed by him anyway. So they have nothing, but Hills managed to see Gaia walking with the bag. She'd followed her, and when she managed to catch up to her, Gaia knocks Hills out, and then Tulls pretty much takes over the pursuit and chases her down, shoots one shot at the ladder that she was climbing. Then she climbs down. Then he realizes it's his daughter, and then tries to get his daughter to hand over the weapons or the bombs so she doesn't cause a war between Russia and America. And then also informs her that her mother's dead, and the fact that it was the group that she works for who killed her. But Gaia doesn't really believe him on the whole. They killed her mother, so she just takes the weapons to them anyway. And then you get a scene between Fury and Tulls basically trying to figure out what to do next. But then when Gaia delivers the weapons to the group, she then goes, talks to her dad in secret and tells him about the plan to blow up somewhere in Moscow to start the war. And she's going to help them by making sure the bags are marked with chemicals so they can detect them with their special glasses. So that's the plan. He tells Fury that Guy's back on the side. And then we get the scene in the Russian bar where Fury orders a drink and plays a chess match with Hills. And apparently this is something they do regularly, because she says that. It's kind of a bit ridiculous, but alright. But then she kind of tells Fury, it's obvious you're struggling with something because, well, you're not yourself. You seem not to realise how dangerous this is or something. And she says, you have to... You said to her once that if you don't see the steps in front of you, then you should leave the game, basically. And Fury kind of just shrugs that off and says, listen, I'm fine, I can deal with it. But Hilt says, if you don't, you could cause somebody to die. And she doesn't want him to have that regret on him. And ever since the blip, he has just not been himself, basically. So we get to the scene. They go to the Moscow place where the bomb's going to happen. They see the couriers with the bombs. They chase them down. Turns out they're all decoys. And then Fury then gets a child that he met before. It turns out to be Gravik. And Gravik's just leading him away and trying to pretty much fuck with his mind. And then Gravik activates the bombs, blows up this Russian party place or whatever it's called, whatever it was, or festival place, and the plans worked. Fury's pretty much not embarrassed, but well, he feels guilty that he allowed this to happen. Hilt tries to help as many people as she can, but then when she sees Fury and heads over to him, this Fury shoots her, and it turns out to be Gravik pretending to be Fury, and then Fury tries to take a shot at him, but there's too many people. He escapes, and Hilt dies in Fury's arms, and that's how the episode ends, with the terrorist plans succeeding, and a war looking likely between Russia and America. And that's how the episode ends. I think it's a good episode. I think it's a good start. Not sure what's gonna. I'm not sure if it's gonna keep on this pace though. I mean, are we gonna get more scenes like the one with the whole spooks thing? I mean, I get it. You know, Marvel is a woke corporation now, or Disney is. But come on, really? And I am starting to kind of feel like we're going to go down the path that Falcon and Winter Soldier went down, which was at the end, say, the bad guy had a right to do what they did, or at least weren't as bad as they were. And if we have that in this, that's fucking ridiculous. I mean, that was stupid in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now, I didn't watch it, I just heard about what happened at the end. But if we have that in this, that's just ridiculous. But, anyway, that's my thoughts on Secret Invasion Episode 1. If you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. Entertainment Soldier, bye.